Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is yet another program for the malloc dynamic memory allocation. This time around what I have done is I'm creating a structure here, structure specification, and I want to create the memory for the structure, right? And this type of structure, struct student, and stdlib.h has to be included because we are using the malloc. Okay, and what I'm doing first is I'm creating a pointer of this type student which can hold the address of the memory being created. So here I'm using the malloc and creating the size of struct student, this guy. Okay, and typecasting it to the struct student as well, and putting the address, the newly created structure, the memory this created, its address is stored in the PDR. The period holds the base address of this structure, and I'm saying in if this is not equal to null, means if the malloc doesn't fail, then do what? Enter the name and roll number into the ptr error name and ampersand ptr error roll number, right? Otherwise you say malloc failed and exit one and then print them back, as simple as it is. So just good to go. I'm saying the name is Junaid, roll number for example 12, and it's getting me back perfectly fine, right? The next thing is, if I want to create the array, if I want to create an array of structures, I want to create now array of structures using dynamic memory allocation. Now what I'm doing is I'm declaring the array of structures here. I'm doing struct student asterisk ptr and now another pointer pd and a loop reply. Now saying if ptr is equal to struct student asterisk malloc, this time I'm creating 3, or I could have used a variable and ask it, how many structures you want to create. He says 4 or 5. Okay, then whatever, that may be then n then, or limit n to the size of struct student. And if I'm getting successful memory, I'm putting this pd into pd, otherwise it will be lost, and I have to go into the loop, because what happens now is I have got the array of structures. Now array's first box has a first structure, second box is second structure, and pd is pointing to the pdr. Then you have to jump, you increment pd, it goes to the second structure. You again increment, it goes to the third box, third structure, right? And so on. What we do here is I'm saying here what, and the data for percentage student I plus 1, then I'm saying name, and I'm scan of that percentage as pdr or name, and I'm entering the roll number, and I go to the ampersand pdr roll number, and otherwise I failed. Now for next loop, what happens is pd plus plus, go to the next structure and add the data for the next structure, pd plus plus for the third row, and third structure it will enter the value of the third structure. Similarly, when I print it back, I have to use a loop for up to the number which a user has selected, because I said here 3 on the top. Similarly, I give ptr error name pt. Before doing this, I have to again because ptr holds the base address, I have to put that in the pd, so that pd will point to the first structure, right? Then pd plus plus take the second and third and so on. So if I give it a go, it should work fine, I guess. First student, I'm saying Junaid, roll number 1. Second student, say Juni, roll number 2, and Iqbal, and roll number 3. So here we go. Junaid, roll number 1, dead of second student, Juni, and 3, and so on, right? So it's working fine. We could have the better way to use create memory for these is to use a calloc. Okay, but here you don't have to use asterisk, use a 3 comma. The difference is you have to say 2 arguments here. One argument says how many, and second argument says what type memory. For example, struct student, whatever the byte student has, into 3, does it automatically into 3. So you don't have to write it like that, you say comma 3, right? Give it a go. It's working fine, right? I say J1 whatever and 2 and whatever and 3, so it's working fine. So calloc, what calloc does is the only difference in the calloc is it has in the malloc we have to use the asterisk, multiplication sign, and here you have to use a comma. Multiplication is done automatically, but calloc is better used for such memory allocations like structure allocations, where we have non-uniform allocations, right? Okay, the third thing we have is called as the realloc.